Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make these two little cute treat holders. I had some requests and I do apologize that I haven't gotten to them sooner. Life just kind of got in the way. So I'm going to do a little video and then I will post this one to my blog with the measurements. So this one holds a full-size Tic Tac, and then this one holds, it's not a mini, but it's a, what size is this? Let me measure here for you. It's about a 2-inch York peppermint patty, so it's pretty good size. It will fit inside of there, and you can probably fit some other little treats in there as well, about that same size. But what you're going to need for this is, I use the Around the World Designer Series paper, which is really cool. So this is a different plaid, and then the other side has all these little goodies on it. So if you didn't want to go with the tartan and the nutcracker, you could always use this and then cut out a little goodie and put that on the front. That will be really cute as well. So like a little treat in there. And then to fit this into the scalloped tag topper punch, you need it to be just a hair shorter than 2 inches. So if you have a 2-inch piece, it actually will not physically fit in here. So you want a piece that is 1 15/16. And then this one, I believe, is 8 inches long. Let's see if I'm correct, 8 inches long. So what I did was I went ahead and I scored this, and I will show you where, because it was pretty simple and you could make a lot of these really quickly. So what I did is I scored it at 3 3/4, and then just to make sure that it was even, I just flipped it and scored it at 3 3/4. That way you have this little piece in the middle that's a little square. Okay, so that way it will hold whatever treat. So you could make this much smaller and put in like a little mini Kit Kat if you wanted to. So then what we're going to do is just pop this end into our scallop tag topper. You see it goes all the way to the end there, and just punch. Same thing on this side, and just punch. Okay, and then all you have to do is just put your candy in here. Now this one you see is a little bit bigger, so you could trim it down if you wanted to, or you could use a little bit bigger of a candy. And then you'll just put some thread in there, or any type of ribbon, just to hold it closed. And then you could add your little embellishment to the front. So you could use the nutcracker, or you could cut something out from here. Because if you do make these, you'll have a little piece that you'll be able to cut off. I have a smaller one here. So you could cut out like a little gingerbread, or if you really wanted to get fancy, you could cut out a couple little candy canes. But there's a lot of really cute ideas. So then the other one that I have, I actually made this one a little bit wider, and I'll show you why. So you could do this 2 different ways. Okay, but I'm going to show you the way that I did it. So what I did is I put this little ledge in here. That way it won't fall out, since the Tic Tac container is so slippery. And then we're going to end up trimming this part back down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my Simply Scored. And what we're going to do is we're going to just score this. And it doesn't really have to be huge. I'll say it like a 1/4 inch. I'm going to do a half. I think a half should be good. So a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to just flip it around. Just like I said, sometimes when you cut, if you cut something, just the hair off. That way it'll be even. And then while we're at it, we'll go ahead and score this. So this will be scored at 3 3/4. And then same thing again, I'm going to just flip it around and score it at 3 3/4. All right, so then you have your pieces here. And we don't really need to fold these pieces, but if it makes it easier for you to trim, you certainly can. And I just forgot one other thing I wanted to add. I want to add a little lip to be able to fold these in. So what I'm going to do is, it's a little difficult to see because this paper is rather busy, but if we scored this at 3 3/4, we're going to go back and score at 3 1/4, just to that score line. And then on this side we'll score at 4 3/4. Same thing again, so just scoring to that score line right there. And this is just going to give you like a little flap. So again, I will put all of these measurements on my blog. Just go back and make sure I have these so they're touching. And once I cut this out and you see what it looks like, it'll make much more sense. So what we're going to do, with those pieces folded, just going to grab our trimmer, little paper snips here, and we're going to cut. It's a little easier to see on this side. So you have a little flap here. So you're going to cut here. We're going to cut down. And then same thing here. So you're going to have like 3 score lines in a row. So you're cutting to the top score line. And then same on this side. They even have a fruit cake on there. When you really concentrate on this, you can see all the cool little goodies that they have printed. I think this is one of my favorite designer series paper they have ever had. It's so nostalgic and fun. Okay, so now you're going to have these little pieces here, and we are going to snip just to, it's going to be easier to see here. So you see this is the line where we cut, so we're going to just snip right to that spot there. Same thing on this one. Sometimes it's difficult. I just wish I was an ambidextrous cutter so I could cut both sides without my hand getting in the way. Okay, so basically what we're going to do now is we're going to just adhere these, and it's going to hold this little flap in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so hopefully that makes more sense, and this is just a teeny bit off. I just want to trim this with my big scissors just for 1 second. I think that one's good. Get this one just a little bit down here. Not that anybody's ever going to even probably get this, but because that's kind of how I am. I tend to keep things instead of giving them away. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this in, and it's going to just be a hair off. So what you can do is you can kind of just center it. Okay. And again, I will put all the measurements for this on my blog. So just kind of center it, and then those should match up perfectly. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this with, just for the sake of time, I'm going to do it with mini glue dots, but you could do it with tear and tape, or you could do it with fast fuse. You want something that's going to hold, though. That way these travel well. But they're really cute. You can make them for your teacher gifts or nursing home gifts. This would be really cute. Give out some Tic Tacs. That would be fun. Or anybody that you know is sick. So you just give those a press and those will hold. Just like that. And same thing again, just fold these in, and you just want them to be square. But, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, and then all you're going to do is, of course I don't have an extra one, you're just going to slip your Tic Tacs in there, and then you can add some ribbon again to close that, so it'll look just like that. This one is a little bit taller and a little bit wider, so I will make measurements for this, but just so you get the gist of it, that's pretty much what you're going to do. But I will put the measurements on there so you have the exact measurements, so it'll be the exact size of the Tic Tac holder. Sheesh, lost my words for a second. Okay, and then I will also put the measurements. This one is much simpler for the peppermint patty, and this one is also a little bit taller, so if you wanted to, you could fit a little bit taller of a candy in there. I happen to have still my Halloween candy, so let's see if a Tic Tac would fit it. I'm sorry, Kit Kat will definitely fit in this, so you could do this one for a Kit Kat if you wanted to. So pretty much any size candy you want, you could just add a little bit of measurement size to it, that way you can fit it. And these would fit like the little Hershey miniatures or Almond Joy mounds, you know, all the things that are below my desk right now that you guys can't see. So those are really simple, and then I will put all their measurements on the blog for that. But what I wanted to come back and show you was something that I went over the other day when I did the spotlight cards on the Facebook Live, and that was on November 8th. And what I kind of failed to show you guys was that there is a much easier way, and I want to show you the card, to trim out Mary and Joseph. And I completely forgot. This has a coordinating die, so this would make it immensely easier. So I'm just going to show you with one that I have here. And I will, of course I put it on the side and now I can't find it. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Big Shot, and then I'm going to show you how to line this up. So basically what we're doing is we're going to just do a partial die cut, but with this. Oop, I forgot my other cutting pad. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a partial die cut with this. So essentially what this is going to do is it's going to cut this from here down. That way you don't have to fussy cut it. So it should make it immensely simpler for you. So we're going to grab our card. And I'm going to put this, make sure that's in the field of view. So we're going to grab this, and we're going to put our die on the bottom. Just make sure you have your legs lined up in there. That way you get a really nice cut. Now, one thing about this, it might give you a slight, still a little slight white around it, because you know when you cut out using thinlets, they never cut exactly to it. So you might have to do a tiny bit of fussy cutting, or what someone else had mentioned when I was looking through the comments is you could actually take your marker and you could trace around it. So I'll show you that at the end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoot this up just a little bit because we only want to cut off this part. So we'll kind of go from here. All right, so let me crank this through. Oop. Oh goodness, hold on. This is so far that it's not wanting to work. Let me do it backwards. That way this plate will be in. So it'll go right about there. Come on, there you go. Okay, so let me pull this out and show it to you. So when you take your die off, then you'll have your stuff already cut out here. So it will make it much easier. And then the only thing you have to do is, depending on how you lined it up, is you could just cut. I'm going to use the little scissors since it's a little spot here. Cut right here. Just to the edge. That should just barely be there. I don't want to rip it. Okay, so you have that there. This part just barely went through. So there's the tiniest part of this up here that I'm just going to have to go back and kind of fiddle with. But if you make sure that you go up farther, you won't be. So make sure that you cut up far enough that this isn't in the way. And then same with this one. So we'll just cut down on this side. And then that's it. So that makes it way easier. So you can see it's cut out. So what someone had mentioned was, how do you get rid of the white? So now at this point, if you wanted to, you could do one of two things. You could either take your scissors and just fussy cut right around the edge of the white to trim that off. And again, personal preference, but I think it kind of gives a better look when it's really, really close. Or, so let me just trim just this little piece off, and then I'll show you the other thing you could do if you didn't want to go do this. Okay, so you could do that. So you could trim to the edge. Or what you could do is you could take your Night of Navy marker and you could kind of go around the edge just to fill in that white. So this is on the part I just cut, obviously. But if you didn't want it, you could just fill in the leg. So it is going to make the legs a little bit bigger, but just fill your legs in. And if you don't have the marker, you could also use your blender pen. Now the only thing is, when you come to the tail here, it's still going to be a little dicey. So quite frankly, I probably would just still fussy cut this little bit. Or if you don't want to, you could leave it just as it is. But I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that in case you were thinking, that's really cute, but that just seems like an awful lot of work. There is a coordinating die with this. I just got so ahead of myself that I completely didn't realize it. Get rid of that. And almost cut his tail off. That was not good. And this teeny bit there. So there's an easier way if you wanted to do this without hand trimming this yourself. You could just do that. Now, granted, when you did that, if you do that and it is, you know, perfectly good idea, you just want to make sure that you probably would go back and color in the rest of your donkey. And if you did it with your blender pens, I think it would work out a little nicer, just so they're a little bit uniform in color. Because right now mine is slightly, parts of it are slightly lighter and parts of it are slightly darker. So I probably would go in and make sure I completely colored this in so it matched. And then the same thing with the robe here. But also, if you stamp your image and your pad is a lot juicier than mine is, mine needs to be re-inked, you probably will get a much nicer color. But that's just another way you could do that. So you could either do your partial die cut and leave your little white edge around it. What the heck did I do with my... I don't know what I did with it. I lost it. Well, anyway, you could either do the partial die cut and leave the little white edge, or you could trim it out and fussy cut it if you wanted to. But I just wanted to give you guys that tip just in case that was kind of holding you back from doing it. And thank you. I cannot remember who told me that, but thank you very much for reminding me that there was a coordinating die. You would have thought when I got this out to show you this part that I would have realized that Joseph and Mary were right over here on the donkey the whole time, but what can I say? Sometimes when I do things in the morning, I'm not paying as much attention. So thanks, guys, as always, for watching. I will post all the measurements on the blog for this, and I will put the cards on there and just all the other information. But again, this paper, this is in the holiday catalog, and once it kind of gets towards the end, this is going to be while supplies last. So this is a really great designer series paper. This is the Christmas Around the World designer series pack. It's really fun. I actually have 2, but I think I might order 1 more because I like it so much. But you have the nutcrackers, you have all these like really fun, nostalgic, and whimsical designs. You have all the little Christmas stuff, some red and white stripes. There's also some really pretty snowflake image. Cute. I love this scene too. This is really cute, just with the old-fashioned cars and kind of like the center of town. And then you have all these other little doodads that go along with it. And the other one that's really fun too is you could also, if you weren't sure how you wanted to jazz these up, you could cut out these little guys. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays in all different languages. So you could just trim one of these out, pop it right on the front of here. That would be perfect. And then you wouldn't even have to do anything except a little bit of trimming. So, thanks as always for watching, guys. You can get all these supplies and more in my online store 24/7 at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. And be sure to follow along if you haven't already. If you are watching a live video and you want to be notified, all you have to hit is when you write a comment, it'll have a little thing that'll come up next to it and it'll say turn on. So if you click that, it will tell you the next time I go live. That way you'll know. And hopefully you won't miss any of my funny banter. Well, at least I think it's funny. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day.